Okay, good morning or good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to today's webinar. I'm Delphina Denousu, the Executive Director of EUCCAN, the EU Chamber of Commerce in Canada. Our association is an advocacy body in charge of disseminating CETA information and support EU-Canada trade relations. If you are new here, I invite you to visit EUCCAN's website and YouTube channel and social media to get more information about CETA and how you can benefit from it. Until mid-December, you will get a unique opportunity to discover trade and investment opportunity in each Canadian province. Today is our 5th episode of the series with Newfoundland and Labrador. After the presentation, we will have a question and answer session, so please feel free to ask your question in the Q&A section at the bottom of your screen. Now, I would like to introduce our speaker of the day, Judith Hun. She's the Assistant Deputy Minister of Business and Innovation with the Department of Industry, Energy and Technology with governments of Newfoundland and Labrador. Over to you, Judith.
Thank you so much, Delphine. It's a pleasure to be here today with everyone. And I hope people aren't too tired. I suspect there's many people who may have spent a little bit of time last night watching as the US election results rolled in. I will confess that I had to have an extra cup of coffee this morning to get me ready for today. So it's a real pleasure to be here today. And my hope is to give you a better sense of my home province, the province I'm privileged to live and work in, Newfoundland and Labrador. To give you a snapshot of what we fondly call the far east of the Western world. And in Newfoundland and Labrador, we are very fond of telling stories. We spin yarns, we tell tall tales, and we are prone to, on occasion, engage in some hyperbole. But I have to tell you today, I don't need to exaggerate when I bring forward the amazing qualities of this province, and I hope I'm able to give some clarity to you on why Newfoundland and Labrador is a tremendous place to live, work, and to bring your business. So I will also endeavor, though, to make sure that as we go through the presentation today, that I don't give you any fake news, that I give you the facts, and that I ground what I'm saying in the truth, because it's important for us and for you to have a clear understanding of this very unique province. I believe that we are both authentic and unexpectedly different than most places, including the rest of Canada. So I'm glad I'm middle of the pack here today, Delphine. We're number 5, but in fact, Newfoundland and Labrador is the youngest province in Canada, and perhaps the oldest province in terms of European settlement. So our format today is we're going to tell you a little bit about Newfoundland and Labrador, and then we're going to engage in some of our priority sectors and give you a deeper dive. But with all my talk of storytelling, the best story is really with pictures. So the first thing we're going to do is engage in a short video to set us up. So I'm going to share my screen. Give me a moment. Delphine has given me all the right instructions, but hopefully I won't do it incorrectly.
And while you share the presentation, I just want to tell our participants that I will share in a few minutes and during the webinar some either links to our website or also contacts, so you can actually contact directly the government of Newfoundland and Labrador. So I will give you an email address so you can contact them directly after this presentation. Great, Judith.
We're good.
Talk to you later.
Okay. And to start our video.
It's the place you've been searching for, but you've never quite found. You'll be drawn by our ancient coastlines and vibrant culture and share our passion for the future. Newfoundland and Labrador, a rare find. It's the place.
Now, I told you that storytelling is a part of our DNA. So I'm hoping that I'm able to give you a little snapshot of who we are and what else that DNA can bring you. I will tell you that in Newfoundland and Labrador, we are the most easterly point in North America, and we're strategically located on crossroads to international shipping lanes between both North America, Europe, and the North. We're a gateway to the North and the Arctic. And we have the largest ocean economy in Canada, making up over half of Canada's ocean economy, 53%. I can tell you we also have our own time zone. So many will tell you that they have a helpful time zone. I can tell you that we're half an hour ahead of everywhere else in Canada, including our friends in the rest of Eastern Canada and in the Maritimes. 30 minutes ahead of Atlantic time, 90 minutes ahead of Eastern time. As well, it's interesting to note that Marconi actually received the first transatlantic wireless message on Signal Hill, December 12, 1901. And we've been a really important part of aviation and transatlantic communications since they began. Amelia Earhart touched down here, and Alcock and Brown also used Newfoundland and Labrador for transatlantic flight. As a province, we enjoy one of the most diversified export markets in the country. 58% of Newfoundland and Labrador's goods depend on the United States market, as opposed to some of our provincial neighbors who more heavily rely on the US market. Our geography is really the last stop en route to Europe, which creates a very special trade relationship between Europe and Newfoundland and Labrador. In terms of doing business, I'm pleased to say that in my own department, Industry, Energy, and Technology, we have a unit called our Major Investments Projects Unit. And we really act as a one window. It's a one-window approach to dealing with the provincial government. So please, Delphine mentioned my colleague Michelle Cluett-Vizard. Her name will be at the end of this presentation. And certainly contact us with any interest in doing business in the province, and we can help facilitate that. We have a culture of working together. Many of you may be familiar with the smash Broadway hit, Come From Away. That's about Newfoundland and Labrador. This is a small place, but a mighty place, large in geography, and we're used to pulling together to be innovative and to create solutions. We also have in our province an investment attraction fund designed to attract large-scale business and foreign direct investment, and we also facilitate loans and advances towards strategic investments. As I mentioned, small but mighty. We have a population of just over 500,000. Our province's capital is St. John's. It's the most easterly city in North America, with a population just over 200,000. We're actually, though, over 400,000 square kilometers of land, and the province's mass is larger than many countries, including New Zealand and, in fact, Germany. We have 17,000 kilometers of coastline. As I mentioned earlier, we have a unique time zone and an overlapping workday with both the West Coast and Europe, as well as North and Central America. Important in these times, certainly important to Newfoundland and Labrador and indeed to Canada, is a commitment to net zero by 2050. The government of Newfoundland and Labrador has made that commitment with goals of environmental protection and reducing carbon emissions. As well, as you see, we are the last shipping port en route to Europe. So there we are, that very large island, practically in the middle of the Atlantic Ocean. And above it, you'll see the landmass is Labrador. Now, many will lay claim to Labrador, but it actually belongs to Newfoundland and Labrador, as our province name will tell you. And we affectionately refer to Labrador as the Big Land. And you can see by the sheer size of Labrador, how large it is, in fact. Very rich in natural resources. Also important to note, I should say, and perhaps I should have mentioned it at the beginning, is I'm still struggling as I work my way through video calls on a regular basis. I'm very tired of looking at my own face, but I can tell you that we're most fortunate in Newfoundland and Labrador. We have had a very successful way of containing COVID-19 and have very few active cases. Our province's leadership on COVID-19 has resulted in a nearly COVID-free province, and there's no community spread. Currently, we have only 4 active cases. In terms of Newfoundland and Labrador's connection, we have extremely strong connections to our province. We're really fond of our home, and so it's if I can just stray from the course a little bit, I can tell you I've been fortunate enough to travel many places in the world, and I can't think of a single trip when I haven't encountered another Newfoundlander and Labradorian who's recognized my accent or heard me talk about where I was from and immediately connects. So we have a strong culture of global locals, so Newfoundlanders and Labradorians all over the world, and a real sense of belonging to Newfoundland and Labrador, and to seeing ways that they can contribute to Newfoundland and Labrador from abroad, and interest in staying connected to Newfoundland and Labrador. As well, key is that newcomers also rate Newfoundland and Labrador and St. John's as the most open city in Canada in terms of accepting newcomers. And I think that certainly in the example of Come From Away, you can see the kind of culture that is here, very accepting and open, and really keen to share the privilege of living in Newfoundland and Labrador and the many assets that we have here. Work-life balance is a very important thing. Residents living and working in our city, St. John's, can generally reach work in under 15 minutes. And many have strong connections with the more rural and regional parts of the province, and we have thriving communities there. Employment rates for newcomers are also some of the highest in Canada, 1 year after permanent residence. So with respect to exports, our total quantum of exports to the EU, based on our 2019 figures, was 3.8 billion, double the 1.9 billion in 2016. And generally, we have overall upward increases in the last number of years. Our main EU export destinations are the Netherlands, the UK, and Italy, followed by Spain, Belgium, and Germany. And since CETA came into force, the value of our province's exports to the EU have doubled. So certainly we truly see the value of CETA. I was privileged to be at the table as one of the individuals working with the province on representation during that negotiation. And it really has proven to be super important to Canada and to Newfoundland and Labrador. In fact, as a percentage of total exports, our province is leading the country in goods sold in the EU, and 26% of our exports are destined for the EU, versus I think the next highest province in the country is Quebec, which sells 11% of their goods to Europe. Ease and preferential access to 41 trillion the European market access with the implementation of CETA has been incredibly important. So we believe in this trade agreement, and we had long history of doing business with Europeans, and CETA has smoothed that path even further. The bulk of our exports to the EU are comprised of oil and gas, iron ore, and other metals, as well as seafood, which is always incredibly important. In Newfoundland and Labrador, the ocean really is a way of life, and we are a leading force in Canada's ocean economy. The province is an international center for ocean expertise and marine technology, establishing it really as a leader in Canada's ocean economy and our ocean supercluster. Our harsh ocean environment is globally unique. It's rich with an abundance of ocean resources, including our world-class petroleum reserves, our fish, and our marine life. So that's a little bit about who we are, and then we thought we would dive into some of the important sectors, priority sectors in Newfoundland and Labrador. So here you'll see ocean technology, offshore oil and gas, seafood and aquaculture, mining and minerals, technology, and aerospace and defense. I will say before I get into these that oceans is incredibly important in Newfoundland and Labrador. It touches almost every part of our economy. So I just went through a list of high priority sectors. The ocean has impacted and shaped many of those. Our ocean economy is deep rooted. It's the reason that Europeans came to Newfoundland and Labrador. They came first for fish, and over time, we have developed deep expertise in harsh environments of the North Atlantic and cold ocean sciences. Our capital city is recognized as a city of ocean excellence and has a wide range of private and public sector organizations that are deeply engaged and involved in oceans. As I've mentioned previously, Newfoundland and Labrador is the largest total contributor to Canada's ocean economy, 53%, and we are a global leader in technology and innovations for harsh marine environments. We're also internationally recognized. In 2009, Marine Technology Reporter named St. John's as the international epicenter of marine technology. And since that time, ocean technology advancements have really grown. We also have a top university. Memorial University is really the only Canadian university to make the list of the world's top post-secondary institutions for the study of marine ocean engineering. So ocean technology is a leading light in Newfoundland and Labrador. We have the largest flume tank in the world and the world's longest ice tank, as well as 2 of only 5 full motion ship bridge simulators in the world, and a 200-meter tow tank in the offshore engineering basin. We are internationally recognized innovators in harsh and cold environments. So I have to say, because we are a small place with small but mighty, I like to say, I'll tell you my own cousin, Captain Chris Hearn, actually works at our Marine Institute. And for anyone who would like to come to this province, once we emerge from COVID-19, I know he'd be happy to give you a tour of the simulators at the Marine Institute. Memorial University is an incredibly important institution for this province. We boast the only co-op program in ocean and naval architecture engineering in the world. And our Center for Entrepreneurship was recognized as one of the top 5 emerging centers in the world by the Global Consortium of Entrepreneurship Centers in September 2019. We have an international campus at Harlow in the UK and more than 30 research centers. Memorial University has positioned itself as Canada's Oceans University, with 40% of the research at Memorial related to oceans. And since 2010, over $800 million has been invested in research and infrastructure related to cold ocean and Arctic science, technology, social sciences, and the humanities. We are one of Atlantic Canada's largest universities, with over 18,000 students from over 100 countries and over 2,700 international students. With respect to our world-class harsh environment research facility, there's been a $6.1 million investment, tech development for our blue economy, large-scale testing and R&D, with the ability to simulate harsh ocean conditions with icebergs and sea ice, high winds, waves, fogs, freezing rain. And this investment has strengthened infrastructure and expertise in technologies operating in harsh environments, such as ocean tech, energy, shipping, and aerospace. The facility is designed to have a leading-edge impact on Arctic and cold ocean engineering research and technology development and research. Currently, there's no research institution in Canada that has a multi-purpose facility that enables the proposed capabilities of our harsh environment research facility in a single facility. The Marine Institute, the Fisheries and Marine Institute of Memorial, is recognized as one of the most respected centers for marine learning and applied research in the world. The Marine Institute is Canada's most comprehensive center for education, training, applied research, and industrial support for oceans industries. We are continuing to invest in our facilities and have a new underwater exploration laboratory. Students learn to pilot ROVs and hone their skills in executing complex underwater tasks in a safe environment, training with the same technology used by industry, while researchers use the laboratory to visualize data in high fidelity. Key features of the underwater exploration laboratory include integrated pilot stations, launch and recovery simulators, dual simulator capability, and enhanced manipulator control functionality. This is really an excellent example of government, private, and research institution partnership. The Underwater Exploration Laboratory's virtual remotely operated vehicle technology was provided by a local company providing high fidelity solutions for critical marine operations. We also have our Holyrood Marine Basin. It's a portal to the ocean site for industry-led at-sea research, development, training, technology development and training, and it makes for an excellent place for firms to carry out testing and development of a true range of innovations. Seafloor mapping, underwater video, inspection, sensors. With respect to the College of the North Atlantic, this is Newfoundland and Labrador's public college. They have a technical education college in the state of Qatar, and partner universities in China are also delivering their curriculum. We've recently developed aircraft maintenance engineer as a new voluntary apprenticeship trade. There's 17 campuses across Newfoundland and Labrador. We have the lowest tuition fees of any post-secondary institution in Atlantic Canada, and we really work to have our programs respond to industry demands. Over 300 courses are now offered online as well. In Newfoundland and Labrador, fish came first, but then certainly offshore oil and gas has transformed our economy. We are 100% of Canada's offshore petroleum. In less than 10% of the total offshore area, there is a resource potential of 63.6 million barrels of oil, and there are more than 650 leads and over 20 basins to explore. Really critical to know is that our oil is 30% lower in GHG for barrels produced, and over 506 million has been invested in R&D since 2004. 600 supply and service companies with established infrastructure are in Newfoundland and Labrador. And our offshore area is 1.5 times the US Gulf of Mexico and 2.5 times of the North Sea. So it's really a giant opportunity. Seafood and aquaculture, another key priority sector for Newfoundland and Labrador. We are exporting to over 40 countries, and it's a rapidly growing sector. We have a goal to be the world leader in environmentally sustainable aquaculture, and the province continues to provide innovative and integrated opportunities. Seafood products are exported to countries such as the US, China, Denmark, Japan, and the UK. Our industry is regulated by both the provincial and federal governments. With respect to our seafood industry, the total value of seafood production in 2019 was 1.4 billion. We exported 930 million in processed seafood, and there were 90 active fish processing plants in the province in 2019. Our primary fish products include shellfish, groundfish, and pelagics. Snow crab, shrimp, lobster, turbot, cod are our top five by value. In our aquaculture sector, our primary product is high quality salmon and organic mussels. 10-year growth of 500% by value, and the total market 169 million in 2019. New international entrants launched 250 million in aquaculture projects in 2018, and we have a local company investing 7.5 million over the next 3 years to establish an innovative, fully integrated aquaculture service hub for the province. Lots of opportunities in this sector, and the expression of interest for the establishment of a marine salmon farming operation for production of approximately 15,000 to 20,000 metric tons of Atlantic salmon. There's service and supply chain opportunities, which we would encourage companies to look at. And in 2021, we'll be proud to host the largest aquaculture conference in Canadian history, World Aquaculture Society North America 2021. And of course, all fingers are crossed that will be an in-person event, but of course it remains to be seen. Mining. In Newfoundland and Labrador, we have world-class deposits of iron ore, nickel, and base metals. "20 known occurrences of minerals deemed critical to a clean energy future, and the world's first nickel hydrometallurgical processing plant with modern and transparent governance, and the province is poised to support the clean energy future." On the map here, you can see some of where our minerals exist in the province. We produce 26% of Canada's nickel and 46% of Canada's iron ore, 3 billion in mineral shipments in 2018, and exploration discovery of nearly 5 million ounces of gold, largest gold mine on the island, in the largest gold mine on the island. We have 13 mines producing 14 metals and non-metal commodities and 6 developing projects. Lots cooking in mining. Now, technology. This is near and dear to my heart. I came to government out of the technology sector, and we really have a robust and growing technology ecosystem with strong supports for research, company scale-up, and innovation. Our department, Industry, Energy, and Technology, is newly created, and the technology, is there to recognize that tech adoption and that technology is the key to diversifying our economy and to growing our industry, whether that's oil and gas, whether that's aquaculture, fishing, all our traditional industries, mining as well, require technology to move them into the future and to poise them for scale up and growth. There's some really interesting things happening in our technology sector. I said earlier that Newfoundland and Labrador is small but mighty. I can tell you that the largest ever venture deal in Canada's history, $515 million, was awarded to Verafin, which is a global leader in financial crime software management. So this is the little company that could. We are now hiring as many people as we can in the technology industry in Newfoundland and Labrador. And we've got some really interesting firms emerging from our ecosystem. MISA was named one of the top 20 tech startups in Canada. These are designers of smart energy efficient thermostats. And they were recently awarded a distribution contract with Amazon and Best Buy. And Collab has recently secured financing following participation in Silicon Valley's prestigious private investment accelerator forum, CDL, and makes advanced design and manufacturing collaboration software. Just a couple of, that's three very small examples of a really burgeoning technology industry in Newfoundland and Labrador. Also exciting to talk about is Eastern Health, which is our regional health authority, has a living lab, which works closely with many well-known global partners, including Medtronic and IBM, GE, Movia, and Deloitte. And they're really working to create exciting technology-enabled healthcare solutions that will help improve our healthcare system and healthcare systems around the world, and will allow our province to become a testbed for new technologies and products in medtech. Our health data lab focuses on analytics and artificial intelligence to improve healthcare delivery, and it's one of the most advanced of its sorts in Canada. It brings near real-time data flows from across the jurisdiction into secure, consolidated repository. We have many strong public, private, and academic partnerships and collaborations, and we are really rather unique. We have personality, and it's in our genes. We have a unique genetic composition. I think that it's often called a founder population. Our population offers many advantages for genetic mapping and research that can advance science around the world. Aerospace and Defence is also key in Newfoundland and Labrador. Our strategic location provides civil and military commands with training and surveillance in harsh northern environments, and also protects North American airspace. In Newfoundland and Labrador, certainly aerospace and defense is tied with our focus on oceans, and companies are innovative in tailoring airborne and maritime surveillance solutions for global markets as well. We have a Canadian Forces base in Goose Bay, and the Canadian Armed Forces and the North American Aerospace Defence Command, Norway. In Newfoundland and Labrador, we have 50 knowledge-intensive small and medium-sized enterprises developing innovative products and services And our sector includes activities in civil aviation, military, maritime surveillance, and security, as well as space. We have niche markets in Canada, the United States, Central and South America, Asia, and in Europe. And CCOR was selected by the Canadian Space Agency as one of 8 satellite subject matter experts from across the country to develop concepts for the future of Earth observation from space, which will eventually replace a RadarSat constellation mission, which was launched last year, and when it reaches the end of its expected operational life in 2026. Also key to highlight here is Provincial Aerospace Limited is a global leader in aerospace and defense and provides highly tailored airborne and maritime surveillance solutions from custom aircraft design and modification to mission system design and integration, mission operations, training and support. And a recent contract awarded to PAL Aerospace in partnership with Jet Support was to provide and support maritime surveillance aircraft and service deliveries for the Netherlands Coast Guard. This contract involves the modification and delivery of 2 fully missionized DHC-8 aircraft, crew training on all systems, and support for the operation of the aircraft for an initial 10-year period. PAL Aerospace ranked in the top 10 of aerospace and defense companies in Canada and has done so for 4 consecutive years. So that's a lot. I've run through a number of prioritized sectors in Newfoundland and Labrador and highlighted, I hope, some of who we are and what we can offer. And so now, Delphine, I think that we can open up for questions.
Yes, thank you very much, Judith, for this very interesting presentation. And I think it was very comprehensive, and I think we have a good understanding of what can be done. So to the participants, indeed, you have Michelle's contact, but I also put it in the chat box, so feel free to contact her after this event, and you will also receive the presentation later today or tomorrow. So I think that's the first question. So yes, you will receive the presentation by email, and you can, as it's a recorded session, you can also see the presentation later on our YouTube channel. The first question I have in mind, Judith, is maybe do you have example of European companies that came in your province, whether it comes like in trading or investing in your province, that you could give us maybe some details and let's say some case studies, if I may say?
Sure. My mind first of all, Delphine, goes to companies that we have that are operated in Europe and that are partnering. So certainly CompuSalt would be a company that springs to mind. That I believe has just opened offices in the Netherlands. On the fishery side, partnerships have run rich and deep since the beginning of Newfoundland and Labrador. So it's really, in some ways, Europe has brought itself to Newfoundland and Labrador at the very beginning and grown here. We've maintained those strong connections. As you can see from our exporting, we still move back and forth to Europe more than most of the other Canadian provinces, where bilateral trade with the US dominates. So Europe has always been incredibly important to Newfoundland and Labrador.
Okay, great. To the participants, yes, please feel free to ask your question. I always have questions, so I will start with my questions. But yeah, participants, again, yeah, feel free to drop your question in the Q&A section. So I know you touched base a little bit on this earlier, but what SITA has changed in your let's say relation with Europe, whether it comes again on trade, on investment, but also what is interesting with CETA is that, for example, you really, it's not just about trade, it's also about investment, it's also about public procurement, because I always say it's something that few people know, but for example, EU company can participate in public procurement in Canada without being present in Canada, and vice versa, meaning that Canadian company can participate in public procurement in Europe without being present in Europe. So what are, since the CETA was signed 3 years ago, what has changed in your relation to Europe?
So I think it's been incredibly important in our fishery, and I think that you can see many of our companies, and in Newfoundland and Labrador, I would say that most of our companies are born global, if you will. So in terms of a market for European companies to service, we're very small. But in terms of a place to come to invest, to use as a base, to reach the rest of Canada, to reach the US, we have some real strategic value. So you can see some of our technology companies partnering in Europe, companies like Blue Drop that does online training. And you can see companies like CompuSalt. As I said, anybody in that Born Global group has used the CETA agreement to open doors and to partner throughout Europe, and to use those partnerships with Europe to access the rest of the world.
Okay, thank you. I have questions from someone who said he missed the beginning, and we didn't mention it, but maybe something we can go through. So the question is, how is forest-based bioeconomy sector doing? Any new investment to advance bioenergy, such as black pellets or other refined products?
Sorry, so forestry is the...
Yeah, forest-based bioeconomy sector, yeah.
So yes, forestry is still important. Kruger is an important company for Newfoundland and Labrador. And on the west coast of Newfoundland and Labrador, and in central Newfoundland and Labrador, forestry is a critical industry, and pellets include continue to be an important part of our forestry industry.
Okay. I also have a question in mind, because it's usually something that come up with, even though of course with COVID situation, it's everything, I guess, it has a little bit changed, even though COVID is not affecting your province as much as others. But regarding immigration, do you have because I know when European companies are coming in to invest, for example, in a province, this is also what they are looking at. So any particular program on to facilitate immigration on top of course, the federal level? Yeah.
Yes, where immigration is incredibly important to us. We have a really good retention rate. When people immigrate to Newfoundland and Labrador, they like it here. They don't stay, they don't come here and then leave for other places. Of course, we always want to increase that retention rate, and we're happy to work with companies. As I said, there's a lot of opportunities, particularly in our technology sector. We have many companies growing. We have a really strong ecosystem supporting that, and a real desire to bring in expert personnel to help strengthen that sector and help them fill the opportunities that are presenting themselves. So certainly immigration is critical to us, and the province is very open to increasing our population through immigration. Certainly in terms of students, very open to having international students stay in Newfoundland and Labrador. And we see real strength in those students who have links to their home countries, and who can help strengthen both by their expertise and by their connections, our companies that are servicing the globe.
Okay, thank you. I don't know if the other participants have any other question. Again, feel free, we have a few minutes left. Feel free to ask a question, or I don't know, Judith, if you want to add some final, let's say, words while we wait for the last questions.
Delphine, maybe what I'd say is, you know, these are kind of formal presentations,
Of course.
and I'm happy to provide the presentation. But the message, I think, is a clear one for Newfoundland and Labrador. We are a province that is incredibly rich in resources, and some of those we're known for, whether that is fish, more and more oil and gas, particularly as our oil and gas is positioning us to have a place in terms of clean oil and gas resources, and as well as an energy powerhouse. Hydro power is also critical, mining. But on top of all that, our greatest resource are our people. And you can see that in the strengths of our technology companies. So we're a very small place in a very large country that is making an incredible impact, not just in Canada, but around the world, whether that's through oil and gas, whether that's through fishery, whether that's through technology. So of a province with just over 500,000 people, the impact and the innovation that's being developed here is ready to be harnessed. And we truly believe in partnership. We've always partnered with Europe. And we think with CETA in place, the opportunities to continue that partnership and to provide European firms with a foothold in Canada that can help them bridge into the United States while staying close to Europe and maintaining connections with the rest of the world are real opportunities. So anything we can do to facilitate those partnerships, to engage with EU firms who are interested in exploring how they can start a beachhead in Canada, Newfoundland and Labrador would welcome that conversation. And in terms of a place to live that is authentic, that is clean, that is, in terms of a lifestyle, such a difference from some of the more urban places that you would see either in Canada or the US or in Europe. We offer all of the advantages of a rich urban center, but with all the advantages of a truly unique and safe, clean jurisdiction as well.
Yeah, thank you, Judy. I saw in your presentation 15 minutes to commute. It's almost a dream when you live in a
It's a dream, huh?
It's not almost, it is a dream actually.
It takes me 3.5 minutes to get to work in the morning. Yeah. And that's with traffic.
Yeah. Well, here in Toronto, we are still working from home, so we don't have this commuting time, but it's true that, yeah, I feel that, yeah, 15 minutes would be a dream for a lot of people. Yeah.
So I mean, I really would make a pitch to all the listeners today. We're very interested in talking to people. We have a very safe environment in Newfoundland and Labrador right now. We've been very fortunate, but as well, we are a place of innovation. You know, Newfoundland and Labrador may have received the first wireless signal, but we also developed the gas mask. And we also have been key in innovations in medtech, and the amount of ingenuity that is required to continually be successful on an island in the middle of the North Atlantic is there's a lot of ingenuity required. So we would love to partner to help create new opportunities for European firms, the rest of Canada, and in the US, and indeed globally.
All right, yeah, thank you very much, Judith, for this words. I just dropped again in the chat box the contact of Michelle. So if you're interested in trading or investing in Newfoundland and Labrador, please feel free to contact her directly, or if you want to go through EUCCAN, we will of course put you in contact with them. Again, you will receive the presentation either by the end of the day or tomorrow, and you will be able also to review this recording on our YouTube channel. Judith, thank you very much for your presentation this morning, and I hope it will open new doors of cooperation between Europe and your province.
It's my pleasure. Thank you for the opportunity.
Thank you very much, everyone, and have a very great day and week, and let's all wait for the results of the US election with more coffee. All right, have a great day, everyone. Bye.